breaking news.
And we start with breaking news tonight. The LAPD on citywide tactical alert after protesters clash with police after a No Kings protest in downtown LA. These are live pictures of the scene in downtown near the Federal Detention Center.
Earlier, we saw protesters pushing and kicking a fence around the facility and federal officers firing less than lethal projectiles. Now, the crowd there backed up. We also saw one person carrying what looks like a makeshift riot shield and wearing a gas mask. This is the same spot where things have gotten out of hand following previous protests. You could see that smoke there when they fired those less than lethal projectiles.
And still keeping an eye on the live footage from SkyCal there on the left, where you see that row of officers.
Yeah, the mounted unit
there.
there
You go. I was trying to make out to see if that was a horse, but we're just obviously going to maintain our sights on this for right now, as you still see some protesters with their signs right up on that skirmish line. As we monitor this situation, we do want to point out that CBS LA's Lauren Pozen is live downtown with the tactical alert and the peaceful rally that also happened earlier today. Lauren?
Well, Gio, two separate things here. We are no longer at the peaceful rally. We are now near the detention center here. Officers have set up a skirmish line. You can see people are getting very close to the officers. Officers have been assaulted. Concrete rocks have been thrown at them, and that's why we are seeing this activity over here. This is a completely different group of people than that were at the rally earlier this afternoon today. This is a different group of people. There's people on those motorbikes here as well. There are dozens and dozens of officers lining Temple and Alameda Street right now, holding the line and basically telling people to back out of here. Again, different than what we saw earlier today. Let's show you what the No Kings rally looked like earlier.
Thousands of people came together outside City Hall at Graham Park for the nationwide No Kings protest.
But when you get out into a group like this, it gives you so much energy.
The movement believes that no one, especially political leaders, should have unchecked power.
And we need to do this. We need to be out here, not just for ourselves, but for everyone, for our family, everyone.
People poured into the streets of downtown, marching and holding up signs with strong messages.
We want ice off our streets.
Organizers say people are angry about where the country is headed, pointing to everything from fatal ICE shootings to troops being sent to the Middle East.
He started wars all over the friggin' world. What the?
Ahead of the rally, the California Highway Patrol and Caltrans installed swing gates to keep protesters off the freeway. The CHP also closed some off-ramps in downtown LA. Last year, protesters clashed with law enforcement on the 101 during demonstrations over federal immigration enforcement. Organizers say nearly 30,000 people have turned out for past No Kings rallies downtown, and Saturday's march is now the third since the movement started last June.
I've been coming out here for almost all the rallies and marches, but I have my daughter with me, and she's a recent graduate from college, so I wanted her to come out here and experience, what it is.
I feel like this is going to go down in the history books.
For many here, it's about more than politics. It's about being seen, heard, and standing together.
It's the direction of everything. It's scary, and being with people who have like minds, it's empowering, and it reminds us that we're not alone, because it can be really scary.
We just got an alert that Alameda and Temple, where we are, an unlawful assembly has been declared. You can see the mountain unit. There they are with the horses and the officers clearing people out here as well. So this is just a turn of what we saw. This is not how the day started. Again, it was very peaceful during the No Kings rally, and now you see people yelling at officers, officers having the skirmish line here. Again, there goes the mountain unit. They're passing us over here. Just people scattered all in front of the detention center as this continues out here. So we're going to send it back to you. That's all we can say from right now.
Lauren, thank you. We appreciate your perspective from the ground. Let's give it another look from SkyCal right now, that live shot. We're trying to make out where exactly they were, and Lauren pointed out on Alameda and Temple. So it's a little hazy almost to see, but you notice the large number of law enforcement right there adjacent to the 101 freeway. Leslie, you were making a point earlier that it looked like they pushed folks down to the sidewalk.
Yeah, it looked like they pushed all the folks that were right on the roadway there off to the sidewalk, so it looks like LAPD is making some progress when it comes to this unlawful assembly, but I'm seeing some pushing back and forth there, what look like maybe law enforcement and a protester. They also have a couple of protesters on the right side. I don't know if they just moved them off the street. It doesn't look like they're detaining anyone, more like they're just trying to get them into one area. But considering that they have called an unlawful assembly, this is when, if these protesters do not leave in a certain amount of time, they will legally be able to detain people.
And in certain situations where crowds have been massive, we have seen those vans move in and, you know, a place to move anyone they do detain. But right now, it just seems like in terms of numbers wise, it is an overwhelming number of officers.
Occasionally you are seeing those officers bring people to the right side. I'm not seeing them necessarily detain anyone, or maybe that's media because it looks like someone has a camera there. But they're moving people out of this crowd to the right. You'll see them move someone else here.
Right, yeah, with the gray right there in the middle of your screen.
Maybe media. It looks like they have a couple cameras on them as well. So they might just be trying to separate the groups here.
And we do also want to point out, we're getting a note right now from our executive producer that the chopper, SkyCal, is a bit far back because of the Dodgers game and flight restrictions that are ongoing right now. So back to that note earlier about why things looked a bit hazy and difficult to make out. It's for that exact reason why we're so far back at the moment. But you notice there the Federal Detention Center, where a lot of the action has been happening, at least in the last hour or so.
Yeah, that's where Lauren was. We saw the mounted unit down there. You can see there's still plenty of people in this intersection. Not a large group. We've seen much larger protests. In fact, earlier today, there was a much larger, very peaceful protest that happened. But this looks like it's really the remnants of this protest. Some people still sticking around there. But as we zoom out here, you get a better look at just how many officers there are compared to protesters. It looks like a lot more LAPD and law enforcement than protesters here on the ground. And they really do have that group of protesters kind of corralled there into that sidewalk.
And there's the mountain unit that you saw there. So we'll continue to keep an eye on this situation, of course, as they develop throughout the evening, and bring you the latest here on air and online as well.
Back to our breaking news here. As we're watching, LAPD has called a citywide tactical alert. They say they have started to make some arrests for failure to disperse with protesters here in Alameda between Aliso and Temple.
And of course, this has been an ongoing situation. Things have transitioned from those mostly peaceful rallies and protests all day through what we typically tend to see toward the back end of the evening. And after protests like this, you have some lingerers around, and then occasionally we've seen unlawful assemblies being declared like tonight, and you see the mounted unit and a host of officers all around this area, seemingly outnumbering, I should say, the number of protesters there in the area. So we'll continue to keep an eye on this as the night progresses. In the meantime,